안녕하세요. If you guys don't know what that means, it's Korean for hello. I'm half Korean, and I'm really excited because I have another skincare reaction video, and this time we're looking at Pony, and we're gonna take a look at her Korean skincare routine. If you guys don't know who Pony is, she is a YouTuber, an influencer in Asia. As far as like how big her reach is, it's pretty big. She's got millions of followers. She is Korean. So I'm excited about it because obviously Koreans really kind of set the tone in my opinion. There are a couple of things I will point out before we even get into her skincare routine. Asian beauty, Asian skincare is kind of different. It's actually very different as far as the philosophy, the types of ingredients they use than Western skincare. They are on top of the trends. We wouldn't have essences, we wouldn't have BB creams and CC creams. I think they kind of bring it when it comes to the trends in skincare. But Koreans don't believe in being really harsh on your skin. Asians in general don't believe in being harsh on your skin. And when I say harsh, I mean like doing really harsh treatments on your skin. They don't do, for instance, extractions during facials. They're not about that, whereas I love a good extraction during a facial. They will use exfoliators. They like chemical exfoliators a lot. They do use physical exfoliators, but it's more of an enzyme, like a rice powder kind of exfoliator. So it's something still that's like less abrasive. They're not really using anything that's gonna be like a harsh scrub. You won't find that almost ever. I actually don't remember seeing that anywhere in Korean skincare specifically. But another thing I'll point out about Asian skincare is it's very humid and hot in Asia. And so that humidity causes them to think about their skincare differently too in the way that they formulate the products as well. So something you'll find in a lot of Asian skincare products and in their routines is that they use products that have alcohols in them. And I'm not talking about like the emollient, emulsifying, fatty types of alcohols that we tend to find are moisturizing on your skin. They use those too, but they actually do use the denatured kind of alcohols that people tend to say are no-nos here in the United States. I feel like the evidence is really inconclusive. I've used lots of products that have different alcohols in them, and I find that it's never actually bothered my skin because what you're doing is you're replenishing anyway. And the reason why that they use these alcohols is because of the humidity, one, so it helps the products absorb into their skin, the ingredients absorb into their skin faster and easier, and they're not being left with like layers, like feeling like there's something on their skin when it's so humid outside. So that's something to keep in mind when it comes to Asian skincare. But other than that, they're on top of the trends. They are on top of looking for new ingredients that are gonna help your skin. So we're gonna watch Pony's nighttime routine on Harper's Bazaar, my favorite. It's their Go to Bed With Me series. I'll leave the original link in the description box below. This one is in Korean, but there are subtitles, so we're gonna have to pay very close attention.
이제 씻으러 가볼까요? 자, 이제 저희 나이트 루틴을 시작을 해볼 건데요. 첫 번째 단계로 립앤아이 리무버를 사용을 해볼게요. 꾹 눌러주세요. 한 10초가 지나면 지그시 좌우로 살짝 누르면서 내려주는 거죠. 그 다음에 인조 속눈썹을 떼셔야 무리 없이 인조 속눈썹을 제거를 하실 수가 있어요. 눈썹도 가볍게 지워줍니다. 입술까지 지워주는 거죠. 좀 꼴이 웃기지만 자, 이제 두 번째 단계로 넘어가 볼게요. 클렌징 오일을 사용을 해볼 거예요.
Alright, so already a little bit more interesting, right? Because she's gonna use the cleansing oil, which would be, for me, the first step. I just go for it. Cleansing oil is gonna get all that eye makeup off and everything. I do find that it's totally fine to use an eye makeup remover. I haven't used this one from Clinique. I'm gonna say that it's probably oil-based as well. You saw how easily her eyelashes came off. She didn't tug at it. She wasn't rough on her skin. It's such a big no-no to be rough on your skin, except for when you're massaging your skin in Asian skincare, so I liked seeing that. Now she's gonna go into cleansing, and I have a feeling she's gonna probably do a double cleanse, so it's kind of like, it's like a double cleanse and then some.
적당히 붙여준 다음에 얼굴 전체에 넓은 면부터 둥글게 굴려가면서 베이스 메이크업을 녹여주세요. 최대한 오일이 굉장히 라이트하면서 문질렀을 때 너무 되직하지 않고 가벼운 텍스처를 고르셔야 무리 없이 부드럽게 지우실 수가 있어요. 네, 이 정도면 다 녹은 것 같은데요. 이제 물로 한번 헹궈내 볼게요. 딱 피부에 비슷한 온도로 설정을 해주셔야 아무런 부담 없이 피부를 헹구실 수 있어요.
So I like everything that she's saying. So she's like, you don't want it to be a really thick oil. And that's, you know, that's something to think about. So whenever you guys hear me talking about coconut oil, even the face oils that are made for cleansing and stuff, that's a good way to tell the difference between the consistencies is how thick is it? Is it gonna be really hard to get this oil off? Is it gonna come off very easily? And I really like that she pointed that out. I also like that she's pointing out the water temperature. Hot water is bad for your skin. I know that we really enjoy hot showers, for instance. It's just not good for your skin. It's drying on your skin. It could cause irritation. The water should be lukewarm, is what I usually say, but match your skin's temperature is a good way of saying it too.
클렌징의 마지막 단계로 품 클렌징을 사용을 해볼게요. 너무
So that's another one. So foam cleansers, huge in Asia. I don't use foam cleansers. To get foamy like that, it usually takes a lot of surfactants, which are essentially like detergents and stuff. They're drying on the skin. But in Asia, I mean, they love their foam cleansers. I haven't tried this one, so I don't really want to critique it hard because I'm sometimes surprised. Like there could be like ingredients that I'm like, oh, no. Or there could be something about it, like a foam cleanser that I'm like, oh no, I don't use foam cleanser. And then I go ahead and give it a try and I'm like, fine, I liked that. So I don't want to be too harsh about it being a foam cleanser. I can already see that she's gonna start talking about it being a good pH that's closer to your skin, which is true, it should be. It shouldn't be too alkaline. So that's interesting.
성이 짙은 제품보다는 피부의 pH 지수랑 비슷한 제품을 사용하시는 게 좋을 것 같아요. 자, 그 다음에 제가 사용할 거는 이 모공 브러쉬인데요. 모공 브러쉬를 사용해서 마무리로 부드럽게 사이사이 거품을 좀 껴주듯이 러빙을 해주면 됩니다. 눈을
Okay, so Pony, one thing that I wouldn't do is she's taking that cleansing brush over her eye. I would skip that area when it comes to a cleansing brush. This one looks like it's really soft and gentle, but your eye is delicate. It's a delicate area. She's obviously very aware of being delicate with her skin, and so maybe it's not occurring to her. It looks like it's a really soft brush, but I still wouldn't. You don't have the oil glands and the skin is so thin around your eyes. I just don't think it's necessary to use a cleansing brush. If anything, I'd love to see her taking her cleansing down more towards her neck and stuff instead of focusing on cleansing her eyes with this brush.
깎아주면 네, 잘 된 것 같아요. 보이진 않지만요. 자, 여기서 세안이 끝난 게 아니고요. 마지막 스텝이 하나 더 남아있어요. 바로 녹찬물 패딩인데요. 먼저 피부랑 비슷한 온도로 스킨을 발라주기 전에 녹찬물로 좀 피부를 디톡스 시켜주는 단계거든요. 근데 저는 이 단계를 매일 하진 않고 한 일주일에 3번 정도 하는 것 같아요. 지금처럼 이렇게 붉은기가 가끔 피부가 민감한 날 올라올 때가 있거든요. 이런 날 이렇게 녹차로 패딩을 해주시면 되게 좋을 것 같아요. 가볍게 흐르는 물만 닦아내주고 나머지는 손으로 두드려서 흡수를 시켜주세요. 물로 헹구실 필요가 없어요. 다음에는
Okay, that was an interesting step. There are a lot of antioxidants in green tea. Using a pure green tea powder mixed into your water, I'm not sure if you're gonna get that many benefits from it. It's kind of like using a toner, I'd say. It's like instead of spraying a toner on or putting a toner with a pre-made toner, she kind of like created her own toner. And I wonder if there are benefits to it. But I would go ahead and venture to say that because it's not something that you formulate, it's not formulated by scientists, for instance, you don't really know how much of the benefits you're really getting from that green tea. Like, did she put enough green tea into that bowl of water for it to actually affect her skin? Or was she just using water to calm her skin and giving it some time and then patting it so that it wouldn't be so red and inflamed from all that cleansing that she did? But I don't know. That was an interesting step.
우리 수분이 증발하기 전에 미스트를 뿌려줄 건데요. 그리고 역시나 두드려서 흡수를 시켜주세요. 좋습니다. 자, 그 다음 마스크팩을
So I'd say the same thing. So I like that she pointed out that you don't want the moisture to be gone. When your skin is a little bit damp, it acts as a sponge for that next product that you're gonna put on it. So if you've wet your face, if you've put a spray toner on, you don't want it to dry so much. Like she started patting it in and everything. I would say that you almost don't want to pat it in. You just want to go on to your next step because it's gonna dry pretty quickly. And so you want your skin to be damp. Now, if it's like dripping, go ahead and pat it in, let it be a little bit damp. You don't want it dripping wet, right? But because you don't want to like dilute your next product, but you want your skin to be damp, so you don't want it to get too dry.
사용을 해볼 건데요. 제가 맨날 사용하지는 않는데 일주일에 한 3번 정도? 짧게는 15.
I'll also point out she's saying how often she uses these types of products, like even that green tea concoction that she did. She's telling you she's not doing this every single night, and I really appreciate that because when you watch some of these videos, they almost give you this sense of like, oh, this elaborate skincare routine happens every single night. And come on, nobody got time for that, right? You got other things to do. And so you don't have to have this elaborate skincare routine every single night. I really appreciate that she's explaining that.
길게는 30분 정도 있다가 떼주시면 됩니다. 꿀이나 아니면 바나나처럼 좀 윤기와 보습을 같이 줄 수 있는, 영양을 좀 줄 수 있는 성분을 좀 제가 좋아해요. 수분감도 없고 특히 윤기를 잃은 날에 이거를 붙여주면 진짜 피부에서 꿀광이 나요, 꿀광. 완벽하게 잘 붙은 것 같아요. 말은 하기 힘들지만 위에서 아래로 가볍게 제거를 해주세요.
I love using a sheet mask. I prefer more of like a hydrogel kind of mask because it's also very cooling on the skin. I get a little weirded out, and it's a personal thing, about a cloth face mask because in some ways it reminds me of a wipe, and you guys know how I feel about wipes because, you know, it's got to sit there wet, full of those ingredients for a while. So I don't know, there's something mental. I have some mental block when it comes to actual sheet masks, but when it comes to like a hydrogel mask, I don't know, I prefer it. There's no scientific research behind that, guys, so don't quote me on it. But what really gives you like a glow from this kind of a mask is usually the humectant that was put into it. I'm gonna venture to say there's like a hyaluronic acid in this. And one other thing I'll point out about Asian skincare sheet masks is they're smaller. I don't know if you guys have actually ever tried sheet masks from Asia, but they fit your face better because they're just smaller. I think they've become very mindful of having a very nice fitting sheet mask, and so that's something that I'd say they've definitely perfected. I mean, they started the trend, so you know, I love seeing that.
와, 진짜 윤기 대박이죠. 자, 이제 스킨 단계인데요.
So again, that glow, there's that trend of like glassy skin in Korea. That glow, it's that humectant, right? You have that nice humectant glow. You need to now put something else on. This is interesting. She's pulled out a toner. So that's interesting to me.
패드를 사용해서 닦아내듯이 해주셔야 얼굴에 남아있는 타올의 이물질이라든지 먼지들까지 깨끗하게 정리를 하고 목도 얼굴이라고 생각을 하시고 같이 연결해서 닦아주세요. 자, 그 다음에 얼굴 크림을 발라줄 차례.
So that was interesting. This is probably the only thing that I'd say is like a weird place for this product in her whole routine. Otherwise, she's been really good about her steps. So she used that toner to just now remove everything, and she did it very gently. I appreciate that and stuff. But she was like, we're gonna sweep everything away. I was surprised. I thought maybe she was gonna pull out this toner and use it like an essence, which could have been okay, you know, like that mask is essentially a serum. So then now she's adding another toner, but she's using it more to like cleanse her skin really quick and get rid of that, which is interesting to me. She probably got some benefits already in her skin from wearing a sheet mask, sure, but then she took off whatever excess that she had on her skin instead of taking her moisturizer and then sealing all of it in, she removed it first, and now she's gonna put on moisturizer. So that's interesting to me. It's unnecessary at best. And at worst, she maybe just removed some of all of that goodness that she could have had on her skin.
인데요. 얼굴 크림을 보다시피 굉장히 조금만 발라줄 거예요. 사실 이것도 많아서 한 요 정도? 정말 콩알만큼만 짜서 얼굴에 발라주는 편이거든요. 얼굴에 크림이 다 분포된 뒤에는 두드려서 완전히 보송보송해질 때까지 패팅을 해주시면 돼요. 이 정도면 피부에 하는 나이트 루틴은 다 끝난 것 같고요. 제가 자기 전에 꼭 하는 2가지 스텝을 지금 밟으러 가볼까요?
Something I really loved that she pointed out is she pulled out the cream and then she was like, this is too much. what you need is just this little bit. I say this to people all the time, whether it's your cream or your oil. She's not an old lady. She doesn't have old lady skin that's just super dehydrated, super wrinkly. She's the opposite of that. And I say this to a lot of the girls I'm talking to when they're like in their teens or their early 20s. You don't need that thick of a cream. You don't need to put that much on. You can use a thicker cream, don't use too much of it. You don't want your skin to be greasy, right? You want just enough to like go onto your skin and seal everything in. And if you're a little bit older, you can start to add a little bit more as you go. Or if you know that you're gonna wear like heavy makeup, anything like that to protect your skin, you're getting on an airplane, then you really like glob it on, in my opinion. But on a regular basis, you don't need to glob on your moisturizer. I don't know if you guys know who Dr. Obagi is. He's a celebrity dermatologist here in Los Angeles, and he really drilled into my head this whole concept of most moisturizers, cream moisturizers, gel moisturizers, their first ingredient is water. And he was like, think about what happens to your skin when you soak in a bath. That is what happens to your skin when you're using too much moisturizer. You kind of are like almost making your skin more sensitive, making it a little bit more wrinkly, a little bit more pruny, a little bit softer. And there's like a balance to this. And so I always think about it. You know, he's really the only dermatologist I've ever heard say that. So it's kind of like a tidbit of information I take with a grain of salt, but I always think about it when I'm using my skincare ingredients and especially moisturizers. You don't want it to just sit on your face and then cause your skin to get too soft. That's just something interesting. I'm glad that she pointed that out because I feel like a lot of people don't point that out.
그리고 자기 전에 저는 꼭 큐티클 오일을 손톱에 발라주는 편인데요. 아무래도 손이 많이 보이는 직업이다 보니까 이 네일 아트랑 큐티클에 항상 신경을 쓰게 되는 것 같아요. 저의 마지막 루틴은 바로 립밤입니다. Good night. Bye.
She is really cute. Overall, I think that was a very cool video to watch. It's interesting to see somebody's skincare routine from Asia. She knows a lot about her skin. She knows probably more than the average person knows about their skin, and they start young, which is always awesome. My mom, who is the Korean part of me, she was always about skincare. My mom was born and raised in Seoul. I was actually born in Seoul, Korea. When I turned like 11, 12 years old, my mom was like, it's time for you to have a serious skincare routine. And I always appreciate her for getting me started on skincare very early. Unfortunately, SPF wasn't a big deal back then, but that's okay. We won't hold that against my mom because it was a sign of the times. But it was interesting to see Pony's skincare routine. As far as the order of her products, the only thing I would change is that last toner step that she did. I actually just wouldn't do it. She had kind of a toner. She basically had a toner with that mist that she used, and actually even that like green tea splash that she did. Those were essentially toners that she was using, so she didn't really need to use that toner at the end to remove everything else and then put on her moisturizer. But I'd be curious to hear what she says about that, because maybe there's something I don't know. Maybe this is a trend in Asia. So I'd love to know. If you guys know the reasoning behind that, I would love to hear it from you guys. Otherwise, find me on Instagram. Let me know who else you want to see. She was definitely a highly requested skincare routine, so I appreciate it, you guys, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.